As the sun dips low on the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of lavender and rose, you find yourself wandering into the serene embrace of a coastal hamlet. The air carries the gentle saltiness of the sea, mingling with the earthy freshness of damp soil and blooming wildflowers. Waves lap rhythmically against the pebbled shore, their sound a soothing lullaby that echoes through the quiet village. Nestled along the coastline, where the land meets the endless ocean, lies a hidden gem known to locals as Whispers of the Willow Grove, a tranquil thicket of ancient willows whose long, trailing branches sway like gentle fingers in the breeze, creating a symphony of soft rustles that seem to murmur secrets of peace and renewal. The grove sits at the edge of the hamlet, where a narrow stream fed by the tides winds its way through the trees, its waters clear and cool, reflecting the fading light like a mirror of tranquility. Moss-covered stones line the paths, soft underfoot, and the faint scent of lavender and sea spray drifts on the wind, inviting you to breathe deeply and let go of the day's worries. It's a place where time slows, where the world feels intimate and kind, and where three souls often gather to share in the simple joys of life. First, there's Elara, the gentle weaver, with her silver-streaked hair tied back in a loose braid and eyes as calm as the still waters of the stream. She moves with a quiet grace, her hands always busy with threads of wool and silk, dyed in the soft blues and greens of the sea. Elara's personality is like the willows themselves, flexible, nurturing, and ever-present, offering comfort without words. She lives in a cozy cottage at the grove's edge, where her loom hums softly in the evenings, weaving tapestries that capture the essence of the hamlet's peaceful rhythms. Then comes Finn, the curious beekeeper, a man in his middle years with a warm smile and a twinkle in his hazel eyes that speaks of endless wonder. His hands are calloused from tending hives, yet gentle as he handles the bees, whom he treats like old friends. Finn's curiosity is tempered by a deep respect for nature. He's the one who asks questions not to probe, but to appreciate, always finding joy in the small miracles around him. He wears a faded linen shirt rolled up at the sleeves, and the faint buzz of his bees can sometimes be heard from the nearby meadows, where golden hives stand sentinel among the wildflowers. And finally, Liora, the reflective traveler, who has returned to the hamlet after years of wandering distant shores. Her skin is sun-kissed, her dark hair falling in loose waves, and her voice carries a melodic lilt from the places she's seen. Liora is thoughtful, her words chosen like precious stones, sharing insights that invite others to pause and ponder. She's not one for haste. Instead, she embodies a quiet wisdom, finding beauty in the connections that bind people to each other and to the earth. On this particular evening, as the light softens and the first stars begin to peek through the canopy, Elara, Finn, and Liora find themselves drawn to the heart of Whispers of the Willow Grove. The air is cool against your skin like a gentle caress, and the ground yields softly beneath your feet as if welcoming you home. Let's join them now in this peaceful haven, and let their story unfold like the unfurling of a willow leaf in the spring. Elara arrives first, carrying a basket woven from the grove's own reeds, filled with skeins of yarn in shades of twilight. She settles on a smooth boulder by the stream, her fingers idly tracing the patterns in the stone, cool and textured, like the weave of an ancient fabric. Ah, the whispers are gentle tonight, she murmurs to herself, her voice soft and melodic, blending seamlessly with the rustle of leaves overhead. The willows seem to respond, their branches swaying in agreement, releasing a faint, herbal aroma that soothes the soul. Finn approaches next, his steps light on the mossy path, a small jar of fresh honey in his hand. The golden liquid gleams in the dimming light, its sweetness already perfuming the air. "Elara, my friend," he calls softly, his tone warm and inviting, like the hum of his bees on a sunny afternoon. "I've brought a taste of the meadow's gift. The bees were particularly generous today, must be the calm sea air inspiring them." He sits beside her, the jar's glass smooth and warm from his pocket, and they share a quiet smile, the kind that speaks of long-standing companionship. Liora emerges from the shadows of the willows last, her bare feet padding silently on the cool earth, a shawl draped over her shoulders woven by Elara's own hands. She carries a small bundle of dried herbs, their scent earthy and grounding, chamomile and mint, picked from the Hamlet's wild edges. "The waves called me back," she says gently, her voice like a soft echo of the sea. "But it's the whispers here that truly hold me. Good evening, both of you." She joins them by the stream, the three forming a loose circle, their presences intertwining like the grove's roots beneath the soil. As they settle in, the grove envelopes them, and you in its serene magic. The stream gurgles softly, its waters slipping over pebbles with a rhythmic hush, while distant waves provide a steady undertone, like the breath of the earth itself. Fireflies begin to flicker in the underbrush, their lights soft and sporadic, adding a subtle glow to the scene. The air is alive with the faint chirp of crickets and the occasional call of a night bird, all harmonizing in a lullaby of nature. Here, in whispers of the Willow Grove, worries fade like the day's light, leaving only the promise of peaceful connection. With the evening deepening around them, Elara suggests a gentle walk through the grove, a ritual they've come to cherish on nights like this. "Shall we wander a bit?" she asks, her voice as smooth as the stream's flow. The paths are calling, and there's nothing quite like feeling the earth underfoot as the stars awaken. Finn nods eagerly, his curiosity piqued by the prospect of discovering what the twilight might reveal. "I'd love that," he replies, his tone light and engaging. "Who knows what small wonders we'll find? A new bloom, perhaps, or the bees' evening dance." Liora smiles softly, her reflective nature drawing her into the idea. "Yes, let's," she agrees. "Walking here always feels like tracing the threads of our own stories." They rise together, moving at a leisurely pace that matches the grove's unhurried rhythm. The path winds through the willows, soft dirt and fallen leaves cushioning each step, releasing a subtle, woody scent with every footfall. Branches arch overhead like protective arms, their leaves brushing lightly against shoulders, a feathery touch that tickles and soothes. The air grows cooler as they delve deeper, carrying the mingled fragrances of salt from the nearby sea and the sweet decay of autumn leaves, a reminder of nature's gentle cycles. As they walk, Finn points out a cluster of wildflowers nestled at the base of a willow trunk, their petals closed for the night but still vibrant in the fading light, pale yellows and soft purples that seem to glow. "Look at these," he says with quiet enthusiasm, kneeling to examine them closer. The flower stems are slender and dewy, cool to the touch, and a faint honeyed aroma rises from them. They're evening primroses. My bees adore them. They open at dusk, you know, like little invitations to the moon. Elara kneels beside him, her fingers gently tracing a petal's edge, velvety and delicate. "They're beautiful," she whispers. "I could weave their colors into my next tapestry, a reminder of how even in the quiet hours, beauty unfolds." Liora watches them with a thoughtful gaze, then shares a memory from her travels. "In a distant village by another sea, I once saw fields of these," she says softly, her voice weaving the tale like a gentle thread. "The locals called them moon kisses. They believed gathering them under starlight brought dreams of serenity." Her words hang in the air, inviting a moment of shared reflection. Finn straightens up, offering her the jar of honey. "Then let's gather a few, not too many, just enough to honor the grove." Together they pluck a handful, their movements careful and reverent, the stems snapping with a soft, crisp sound that echoes faintly. Continuing along the path, they reach a small clearing where the stream widens into a shallow pool, its surface rippling gently under the breeze. The water is cool and inviting, reflecting the emerging stars like scattered diamonds. Elara dips her fingers in, feeling the silky chill against her skin, and sighs contentedly. "This spot always feels like a pause in time," she says. "The water's touch washes away the remnants of the day." Finn chuckles softly, a warm, rumbling sound that blends with the stream's murmur. "True enough. My bees come here to drink. Watch, there's one now." A lone bee hovers near the edge, its wings a faint buzz, before alighting on the water's surface for a sip. Liora sits on the pool's mossy bank, the cushion soft and springy beneath her, releasing a fresh, green scent. Sharing these moments, it reminds me of the connections I've found on my journeys, she reflects. No matter where I went, it was the simple acts, like walking with friends, that brought the most peace. Elara nods, her expression kind. And here, in our hamlet, those connections feel eternal, like the willow's roots. They fall into a comfortable silence, broken only by the soothing sounds around them. The whisper of leaves, the distant crash of waves on the shore, the occasional plop of a pebble in the stream. As they resume their walk, the grove reveals more of its treasures. They pass a fallen log, its bark rough and textured, home to tiny lichens in shades of gray and green that Finn examines with interest. These are nature's artists, he says, his voice filled with quiet awe. They paint the wood over years, slow and steady. Elara touches the bark, feeling its rugged groove. Like my weaving, layer by layer, until something beautiful emerges. Liora adds, and each mark tells a story of resilience, of growing through the seasons. Deeper in, the air thickens with the scent of wild mint growing along the path, its leaves crushable underfoot, releasing a refreshing coolness that invigorates without startling. They pause to gather some, bundling it with the primroses, the herb's aroma mingling with the honey's sweetness in Finn's jar. "We could make tea later," Finn suggests gently. "A brew to warm the soul as the night cools." The idea brings smiles, and they continue, their footsteps sinking in a rhythmic harmony. Conversation flows naturally like the stream beside them. Elara speaks of her latest tapestry, inspired by the coastal waves, threads of blue silk that capture the foam's curl, soft and undulating. "It's like weaving the sea's breath," she explains, her tone dreamy. Finn listens intently, then shares about his bees' latest hive, how they've built combs in perfect hexagons, golden and precise. "It's their way of creating order in the chaos of the world," he says with a soft laugh. Liora weaves in tales from her travels, a quiet cove where waves whispered secrets, much like their grove, and they all feel the thread of connection strengthening. The path loops back toward the hamlet's edge, where the willows thin and the sea comes into view, its waves a silvery ribbon under the moon. Fireflies dance more abundantly now, their lights soft pinpricks that guide the way. The group pauses at a viewpoint, the breeze carrying the salty tang of the ocean, cool and invigorating against their faces. "This is what hope feels like," Liora murmurs. "A quiet knowing that tomorrow will bring more of these moments." Elara places a hand on her shoulder, warm and reassuring. "And in sharing them, we find our tranquility." Finn nods, the jar of honey glowing faintly in the moonlight. As they near the grove's heart again, fatigue from the gentle wander settles in like a soft blanket. Their interactions have been a tapestry of words and silences, each moment building a sense of community, relatable emotions of gratitude, wonder, and peace shared among friends. Back at the boulder by the stream, they settle once more, sharing the gathered herbs and a taste of honey. The night has fully embraced the hamlet, stars twinkling overhead like watchful guardians, and the whispers of the willows lull them into a profound calm. Elara brews a simple tea over a small, crackling fire, its flames warm and contained, casting a golden glow on their faces. The steam rises with the scent of mint and chamomile, soothing and herbal, as they sip from shared mugs, the ceramic smooth and warm in their hands. "Thank you for this evening," Finn says softly, his eyes reflecting the fire's light. "It's these simple gatherings that make the heart feel full." Liora nods, her reflective gaze turning inward. "Indeed, in whispers of the Willow Grove, we've found a haven where connections bloom like the primroses." Elara smiles, her voice a gentle close to the night. "And in that there's hope, for more tomorrows like this, wrapped in tranquility." They part ways with warm farewells, each heading to their cottages under the moon's soft watch. The grove sighs contentedly, its whispers fading into the night as peace settles over the coastal hamlet. You, too, feel the calm envelop you, the story's serenity guiding you toward restful dreams. To drift into more peaceful tales, subscribe to Sleep Dream Stories for more soothing stories.